सर्वं योगी Ramsuratkumaraarpanamastu. On this auspicious fourth day of Navratri, we are heading for this fourth Ratri. We got one more opportunity to sing His powerful name, and koti koti grateful pranams to Bhagwan's lotus feet. This is no small grace. The least we can do is acknowledge when the golden opportunity comes our way and utilize it. Even for that, we need grace. I remember in Sudama, we were asked to chant the name, if possible, in the night also. So I wanted to try. It was difficult. I used to have a bottle of gooseberry water, would get up, go to bed early, like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and get up at 11:30 or so, and 12 o'clock I would start. And the whole night I had to keep awake, singing the name. There would be attacks, severe attacks of sleep. Whenever that happened, I would get up, drink some gooseberry water and walk up and down, up and down. If there was more severe attack of sleep, especially in the morning, early morning around 3 o'clock, 3:30, sometimes I wouldn't hesitate to take some hot pickle also. Now the first time it happened, early morning, I rushed to Bhagwan with such jubilation that I had stayed up the whole night singing His name, and I had completed some 20,000 namas or something. Like a child with excitement and expectation, I rushed to him and reported the first thing in the morning as soon as he came and sat there, the veranda. But there was no smile. He only frowned. And what was more, he gestured with his hands as if it was no use. The whole night staying up, struggling hard against all attacks of sleep, was of no use. What a shock it was. When I was expecting a pat on my back, all that he said was, "It's no use." And then he pointed out, "Devaki, you said you were doing it. Were you doing it? It's my Father who gave you the strength to do it, who gave you the inspiration to do it, and who made you do it. Every bit of it is only my Father. You think that you can do it? This 1 hour singing together, you think we can do it? every day, the morning and evening, and so regularly and for so many months now. It's possible for human being. It's Bhagwan. It's Bhagwan's grace, special grace, that we are able to sing at all and together. So he reminded me, he said, unless you understand this fundamental fact that it is grace that makes everything happen, and none of us really exist, none of us are capable of any independent action. So here, every day, it's by His grace, by His special grace, it's Bhagwan's compassionate heart that not only gives us an opportunity to chant His name, He also gives us the inspiration to sit and do it. Now today, we shall see how this inspiration blossoms into grace and glory. Yesterday we saw how Mrs. Shanta Krishnan went to Kashi. When she proposed it in the first place, people made fun of her. You, in your condition, with paralytic attack, your right limbs out of use, you have to limp around, and you are saying you are going to Kashi. She put up with that and said, I have my Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, with me. He would help me. He would make me achieve this. And true to her faith, Bhagwan did that. She was able to manage very well till she returned. Now today, we shall see what happened to another devotee in Kashi. Sri Tirumalai Nambi and his wife had gone to Kashi and other places around with some devotees of Bhagwan, other devotees of Bhagwan. When they arrived at Kashi, it was in the evening, and many people immediately went to take rest. But somehow to Tirumalai Nambi, the inspiration, the prompting kept coming, and he wanted to go to Vishwanathji Mandir. He and his wife got ready. They were unable to take rest, and they got ready and rushed to Vishwanathji Mandir. And all along thinking of Bhagwan, how he should have walked these streets, how he should have come into the Sanctum Sanctorum there. When they found themselves inside the Sanctum Sanctorum, again they felt overwhelmed at the thought that here was Bhagwan at the age of 16, having darshan of Vishwanathji and going into a trance. Bhagwan saw the whole place filled with a brilliant light. And what was more, he told me much later, years later, when he described it to me, he said, this beggar also understood that it was not the Sanctum Sanctorum, the whole light came out of this beggar. Our inner glow, the Supreme is residing in all of us, in all its Brahma Tejas. And when you wake up spiritually inside, the Tejas also begins to work. Swami said, I knew it was filled with effulgence. The beginning, this beggar thought it was Vishwanathji's tejas. But then later this beggar understood it was coming from this beggar. Now Tirumalai Nambi and his wife stood there, the Sanctum Sanctorum, completely lost in the thought that here was Bhagwan at the age of 16, and at the darshan of Vishwanathji, how he was lost in the effulgence of his own being. And then the whole place suddenly became very busy. Some Shastris entered and there was a lot of activity. Two of them started to clean up the place and two of them started to arrange things for puja, and 4 people went and stood at the threshold of the Sanctum Sanctorum. There are 4 gates. So they went and stood there, and 2 Shastris came straight to them because they were still standing there thinking of Bhagwan, and then they asked, have you got the ticket? And they had no idea what he was talking about. He said, what ticket? We don't have any tickets. At which the Shastris got angry, and they should have immediately asked them to go out, to get out. But instead what happened, we do not know. Of course we know it's grace of Bhagwan. Somehow they let them stay on. It just doesn't happen that way at all. It happened to them by pure grace of Bhagwan. They allowed them to stay in spite of their saying that they did not have the tickets. In the meantime, outside, some 500 people had gathered with tickets. They had all purchased tickets for 100 rupees per head, and they were not allowed inside, and they had all crowded into the doorway. And they looked at these 2 people, and some of them were openly cursing them because they got this privilege for nothing. And then the puja started. They did Abhishekam to Lord Vishwanathji, and then they decorated him, and then the Aarti. Some 7 Shastris gathered around. It is called Saptarishi Puja. The idea behind it is that the 7 Rishis, Sapta means 7, 7 Rishis of the earth, every day they would come, every evening they would come at 7:15 and do the puja to Lord Vishwanath. So 7 Shastris representing those Rishis of different gotra would gather and they would do the puja on behalf of those Rishis. Those Rishis, they are supposed to inspire them into doing that. It's a very special puja, very vibrant. So when these people stayed there and the puja was going on, it was so vibrant. And suddenly Tirumalai Nambi saw Bhagwan standing there in the Sanctum Sanctorum on the one side. And he could not believe it. So this puja was over. It was such a great inspiration, a vibrant puja, and they did it so sincerely with love and devotion. After the puja was over, Tirumalai Nambi got a doubt whether he really saw Bhagwan or if he simply imagined it, because he was thinking about Bhagwan deeply. And then again, after the puja was over, he just looked there where he saw Bhagwan, and suddenly he found Sri Rama, Sita and Lakshmana carved out on the wall. You can see it even today, people who go there to the Sanctum Sanctorum of Lord Vishwanathji. There are figures carved out. So Sri Rama was there, and then he knew, Tirumalai Nambi knew instantly it was definitely Bhagwan, because that is where Bhagwan stood. He was absolutely thrilled, overwhelmed by Bhagwan's special grace, because he did not mean to attend this puja at all. He did not know anything about it, nor did he get any ticket. But how is that he was allowed inside? All because he was thinking of Bhagwan. Both of them, he and his wife, rushed there all the time, feeling the thrill of the event that took place several years before. Oh, Bhagwan would have walked like this. Bhagwan would have come into Vishwanathji Mandir. Oh, Bhagwan would have been here in the Sanctum Sanctorum. Oh, he went into trance. There must have been effulgence filling up this space, this very space where we are standing. Now that invoked the grace and the glory of grace. He attended, he was allowed to attend the Saptarishi Puja, a very important puja, without any ticket. Even if you buy ticket, you have to be only at the entrance at the most. You would not be allowed inside because the Shastris would be there, blocking the way. Such is the grace. The grace manifests itself in different ways, in different circumstances, depending upon the situation, the depth of Bhakti, the depth of devotion. I remember going to Kashi some 2 years back on my way to Nadra. And of course I had bought the ticket. I knew about the Saptarishi. It was very special to me because several years before I had attended, and of course I only stood outside and saw the whole puja. It was so vibrant, so vibrant, and I could feel the presence of those great beings even at that time. And so it was so vivid in my memory, I did not want to miss it. And this time I bought the ticket and we had rushed there. And same thing, something similar happened to me also. Because to me, Lord Vishwanathji is the basic deity what we call the deity of the Sanctum Sanctorum, the permanent deity of the Sanctum Sanctorum. We call it Moolavar. And there is also a deity, a representative deity called Utsava Murti, and only that deity would go around the streets to give darshan to people. People who are unable to come to the temple, they can stand and have the darshan of this Murti. So I always thought that Vishwanathji, it is Vishwanathji who manifested as Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And Yogi Ramsuratkumar was wandering everywhere. So when the puja started, I looked at the Murti and I saw the Abhishekam and the decoration and then the Aarti. Aarti was very, very special. you could feel the vibrant presence of the deity. And I imagined Bhagwan and Bhagwan in the Linga of Yogi Rams, in the Linga. And then naturally something melted inside because the whole atmosphere, the sound of the gong, the sound of all those instruments and the Aarti, and it was the Sandhya, the evening twilight. And suddenly, after the puja was over, the eldest of the Shastris removed one huge mala from the Linga, came straight to me and garlanded me. I was shocked. I had no expectation, no idea, because I was completely lost in the puja. Was feeling the vibrant presence of the deity, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, to me, and was completely lost. I was not even aware of the Shastris or anybody around. And suddenly this garland from Vishwanathji fell upon me, my neck. You can imagine the thrill, the ecstasy I was going through. So Bhagwan's grace, it comes to our help in different ways, in different situations, according to our mindset, according to our preparation of mind, according to the depth of his thought. Now this Bhagwan, who makes things very extraordinary at times for people, even without their asking, is here, right in front of us, with his hand raised in benediction. We shall submit our today's prayers